P40. Cari info. Where's the music? Yo, musician mana? Ini hari tidak boleh cari makan, ha? Ini you get in lah, bukan you get from ya. You get in. Chén con trao ha. How did you get the picture like that? Wow, Richard here. Whoa, nice church. Oh, Daisy Alexander, yeah. Oh. Then some guy is standing behind, huh? Oh, I had a bigger cannon than that. Scuba diving, yeah.
Why you got family is bug? All my family is bug.
Is it in Cairn, scuba diving? Oh, no wonder, John. Who is this? Man.
Where you work, okay?
Oh, the magician, yeah, magic man. How to day? Where do you get all these pictures from? Huh? Ôi, một người đó, ây da, ông chỉ cho ai chịu hả? Ôi, đưa phùa đi à? Đến chuẩn. Ôi, Danny boy, Danny boy. How come you don't have the pictures there? Chong Fei Fong, where is she? Yeah, we missed Chong Fei Fong. Where is she? KL. Did you contact her or nobody? No? Yeah, see, the guy behind there, he's a drummer. There, you see me so skinny, yeah?
Oh, that's the star!
Sario, yeah. Sario.
This is the star again.
Aji Ajinan, yeah.
This is.
Oh, yeah. Going back already. Okay, so that's all of you. And today you are different guys, you know? You want to reverse the clock and go back to those days?
I have to stop it, but I don't know how to stop it. Oh, yeah. Okay, start. Okay, the rest of the program, I don't know what this is.
All right. I think we have seen the slideshow and you have seen all your faces before and now. Okay, there's a huge difference. It is completely a different world altogether. I believe you all have your good time for your dinner. You all enjoy your dinner? Yeah. Thank you. This is food that we provide from the hotel. And we go to item of our program. And John Wong is something to say something there. John. No? Before that. Sheila, the introduction, okay. Okay, Mr. Alexander, okay, our Richard Track will present a little narrative or talk about our former teacher, Mr. Alexander. So let's give a hand to Richard, okay? Great. Mr. Alexander was our biology teacher, and he's a good family. All the family members were all teaching, the daughter, the son, and all that, So Richard is good to say something about him. All this while that we were in school. Richard, please.
Hello, please. Please have your attention, please. Before I talk, give the tribute to Mr. Alexander. There are two things to be given away, free of charge. Okay. Now this one is actually contributed by Chua Ming Liang. She said to be given, to be selected, up to you to pick by the ladies, only ladies only. Can the ladies come out table by table, starting from the table, just like before? Come on their way and take your choice of your color. Those things only ladies are interested. From that table, going down this way. Come on, don't waste time. Go on, don't feel shy. It's given to you by Chua Ming Liang. Just take one each and pick what you like. Go on, you open it there. Let's take one each, please. Pick what you like.
Hey!
one each, okay? Is it enough to go around?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, just pick up one, I think so. You just put your hand in and pick up one. Yeah. And
Lucky draw,
I think it's better just put your hand and pick one. Otherwise, wasting time. Just take what you want. Just pick one.
Hey! Hey! Yes! Lucky draw, lucky draw. Anyone? Anyone go?
What you want?
What do you want?
Okay. Can I have you please have your attention, please? Just now I mentioned about 2 things to be given away. You got one already. There's another one, and I think it suits you better. You remember on the first day of our reunion gathering, we have a professional photographer to take our pictures. Now the 2 pictures are with us. One of the picture is only classmate only, and the other one is classmate plus spouses. Now, those who attended, who took the picture with us on the 22nd of November, can you come out to collect the picture? You can take one each. Only for those who were in the picture. Start from that table. Please. Now, if 2 classmates were husband and wife, you are only allowed to take one. Okay, you start now. Take one each. There, one. Yeah. You're not in the picture, please. One.
Hey, I'm done. I'll make a copy for you. so you remember me forever.有樣就識夾嘛？
有人就都夾，唔喐就呢度。
冇樣就冇夾，OK？
係啦。
冇嘢公全嘢公。
你後邊當然。
你先面冇得拎啊！
有係啊。Now we still have a few photos left, but I believe not all classmates who were in the 22nd party came here. So we still keep some here, and you may like to spread the word to them to come and collect it from me. Huh? You're not there. You only came tonight. Very good. Professional photographer. So I'll keep the remaining photos. And those who were on the 22nd party can come and collect from me. Okay. Hello. Can I have your attention, please? Now I'm going to give a tribute to our late Mr. Alexander. I think most of you who stay on who stay from Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, Form 5 know about him. He's our great teacher, one of the probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest teachers, if not the greatest. That's why I personally spent a bit of time putting together a tribute to him. You will see along the way his life, his family, and how he influenced us and helped us to achieve far beyond our expectations. Now I will sit down. You will look at the screen and listen to me. I will look at this one. So, sorry? Sorry, what is it? Yes, please. Now, while I'm talking, actually I also play some background music, which with a song, "We Will Always Remember You." Okay? Now you can see here in the 1964 picture of him in the classroom. I think many of us have seen this picture many times. It's because all of us love him. And there's another picture of 2009 taken of him. This is actually just before he died, just before he passed away. And I feel it's an honor to say a word about him. Those classmates who did science in 1961 and later years would know that Mr. Alexander was no ordinary teacher. Okay, I start again. So you see that. So he is no ordinary teacher. In fact, he was, in my opinion, extraordinary. I'm sure a few of us agree. I think Wu Jibin will agree. Wow, Mr. Alexander graduated from Madras University with first rank majoring in botany and with geology as a subsidiary subject. In fact, before he came to us, he became a principal of a high school in Kerala, India. This is in 1939. And then in 1961, he was recruited by our principal, Mr. John Bramall, to teach science in St. Michael's School, Sandakan. Mr. Alexander taught us general science when we were in secondary 2 and 3. That's before we start going to pure subjects. Those of us who are familiar with his style of teaching, he will just write a lot of notes on the blackboard, and we just copy, and those notes were fantastic, in my opinion. Easy to understand, easy to read, and easy to memorize if you like. And easy to use those notes to get perfect score in exams. And of course, we come to love him, this teacher from India. In the early 1963, he brought in his daughter, Miss Daisy Alexander, who was also an excellent teacher. So with the arrival of Daisy, St. Michael started its pure science subjects. So there is biology, chemistry, and physics, and selected students, a few of us, myself, Wu Jibin, and Yan Yi Guai actually took up all three these subjects. I think a few of us, a few other classmates also took some of the subjects. You also. And physics. And physics. Yeah, yeah, a few others. But only three of us who took up all the three of them. And of course, this is, in addition, we also do additional maths. So, science and maths, if there was 5 subjects. Now, despite that, the fact that we took up these subjects for the first time, actually we did well, very well. In fact, all three of us who did all the 3 science subjects did very well in the senior Cambridge. Okay? And of course, Mr. Alexander and his daughter Daisy were mainly responsible for making St. Michael's School a leader in science stream in Sabah. And he also set up an excellent science laboratory. Now, I would like to show you the picture of Mr. Alexander. The picture on the left is taken around 1965, just after 65 or 66, after we left school. After, of course, Daisy became a mother. You see the baby held by Mr. Alexander is the son of Daisy Alexander. Okay? And the picture on the right is Mr. and Mrs. Alexander. The baby is Daisy. Okay, Daisy Alexander is the baby on the right side. So between the two of them, they lay the path for us to further our studies locally and overseas, leading to successful careers among many of us. Okay? And this is a picture of people who were taught by him. And many of these people in the picture are now here. Of course, become more prosperous now. Now, Mr. Alexander has been a very popular teacher among us and also among his colleagues in the school. He stayed in the teacher college on Church Road, and also after school hours, we have students coming to see him, especially those from the boarding house, drop into his place for a cup of tea, served by Mrs. Alexander. And then many of the students love him so much that the students and their parents also help Mr. Alexander to collect specimens for the biology laboratory, like eggs of snake and crocodile. Then in 1965, we all have already left school, but Mr. Alexander very often, like giving away Daisy to John Wilkes at Kerala through an arranged marriage. Just to let you know, Daisy actually saw her husband only 2 days before their wedding for the first time. Now I have often been wondering what happened. What did they do in the first night of wedding when they only met? They only met 2 days before their wedding. And of course, this arranged marriage has caused quite a bit of stir and shock among Daisy's colleagues and friends. They were horrified that their dear Daisy was being condemned to a life of bondage by her heartless date. Of course, in this case, Mr. Alexander. But they become quiet when they found that Daisy and John, they behave like lovebirds. They couldn't be separated. Now, Karen and myself spent 1 week in Kerala. This is in January 2008 as a guest of Daisy and Mr. Alexander. Daisy was our host in the place called Trivandrum. This is the capital of Kerala. And Mr. Alexander lived in Turuvilla, and we have to travel 3 hours to visit him. And many thanks to Daisy. We visited Mr. Alexander 3 times over this period. It was a very memorable moment to meet him for the first time after 43 years. It's almost as long as we never meet each other. So it was a great moment. And this is some pictures we took. Both pictures were taken outside his house. Perhaps the points of pictures. That's Mr. Alexander, that's Daisy Alexander, and that's his son, a doctor, daughter-in-law, also a doctor. Okay? And this different view of the picture we took outside his house. And then we have a meal together in the restaurant, and this on the left hand side, and on the right hand side, this is in his living room. And now we got to know more about Mr. Alexander. Mr. Alexander lost his wife actually on 9th of July 2007, and Mr. Alexander lived in an all-concrete house by himself, but his son and daughter-in-law, both are doctors, live in an adjoining connected house with a common kitchen. So they have actually 2 daughters living side by side with him. Imagine. When we visited him, he was almost 93, but he's still alert, and I could recall the good old days, but physically weak. So he didn't travel anymore during that time. He spent mostly his time in the house, and probably to the place nearby. And of course, just like Wu Chi-Ming and myself, we love satay very much. He also loves satay, and he mentioned to me that he also missed the satay. Now, aside from his extraordinary achievement as a teacher, the late Mr. Alexander was also a family man with a loving wife and family. Now, look at that. Now, if Mr. Alexander were to join our competition, he would beat every one of us. He had 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and 13 great-grandchildren. Now, imagine among us, we only have 1 great-grandchildren, you know? So many of us here, but he got 13 great-grandchildren. So we got no chance against him. Now, here at his 90th birthday, in this picture, there were 4 generations of his family. Of course, he's the head of the family. By that time, his wife was no longer around. And he got 4 children. Mr. Alexander put that. Daisy is the oldest, being our teacher. And then he got Abraham Alexander, Dr. Roy Alexander, and so he got 4 children, all are high achievers. Now, again, I showed 2 pictures, 40 years apart. Okay, the picture on the left was 1965, after Daisy Alexander married her husband John. John is the man standing next to Daisy Alexander. Now, the other 3 are the children of Mr. and Mrs. Alexander. Now, this is 1965. Only one of the children got married, the other 3 not married. And then you look at 2003, all 4 of them were married. Okay, every one of them come with their husband and wife. And of course, Mr. and Mrs. Alexander sitting side by side. So you can see 40 years apart. Now, that's a sample of the achievement of his grandchildren he got from Daisy. So from Daisy got a tattoo surgeon. I think these people are more familiar to Wu Chi-Minh. Two of them live in USA and one live in Kuwait. And in fact, the Rachel is also the goddaughter of Mr. John Bravo. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Alexander left us on 27 September 2011 at the age of 96, but we will never forget him. We always have heartfelt gratitude and admiration for him. May he rest in peace. Now I'm going to show you some pictures of his funeral, which is held in India, Kerala. And the picture on the right is Daisy bending down to give him a kiss. And in fact, in Sabah, the local Chinese newspaper also published his death. And Mr. Bravo actually give a very glorifying letter to, as a respect to show. Now, as I mentioned before, that at the end of the reunion, I will publish a reunion memory book. All this will be in that book, okay? Now you have plenty of time to read the letter from Mr. Bravo. This is about all I have to say. I hope it gives you an idea why we love him so much. Okay? Thank you.
You know the thing, and there's just one lighter side of this thing. Daisy told me about when the news leaked out, when the news was announced that Daisy is going to marry someone she has never met and doesn't know. What happened is that the next day, a young lady from St. Michael, I do not know her, but I'm dying to meet her. Her name is Cocky. Anybody know Cocky? Yeah. And great. So tell her I'm dying to meet her because she stood waiting for Mr. Alexander to show up to teach the next day. And when Mr. Alexander walked near her, she approached him and said, "Mr. Alexander, how dare you?"
By the way, dear Cocky is in year 66, 2 years our junior. And what Jimmy said was a true story. In fact, I also have that story, but I thought I don't want to mention it since Jimmy said that. Yeah, dear Cocky, I think she now lives in England. Okay, she lives in England of year 66. Okay, thanks a lot for your attention.
Yeah, dear fellow classmates, you have heard the background story about Mr. Alexander, and I was also in his class for biology and chemistry, and also we had quite a number of years with him. So nevertheless, all the event and story related, it is a truly great teacher, and it's an honor for us to have that kind of teacher. And that's why we have been trained and studied, and we are here today to be able to pay some tribute to him. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The next item for the event is 1001 Nights. I don't know what is that. 1001 Nights by a few ladies, June Wong and Erin Lee. Diana Ching and May Dechua. You all come out and you tell your story. We don't know what are the story about. Okay.
I see. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. If you can't hear me, just raise your hand and we will speak louder.
Sit closer. Yeah. Introduce yourself first.
Introduce yourself.
I am Li Feng Choi.
I'm Wong Yuk Fong.
I'm Chan Ping Shun. School is hard work. It is a lot of slogging and burning of midnight oil. It is homework and punishment. It is exam fever and red marks. Yes, it is a lot of heartache and tears. But it is also a lot of fun. It is poetry and drama. It is yummy tuck shop food and school picnics. It is schoolboy pranks and practical jokes. It is schoolgirl crushes and puppy love. It is unforgettable teachers and classmates. And most important of all, it is friendship that never ends. My dear friends, we 4 girls here are from St. Michael's and St. Monica, and our program tonight is called 1001 Nights because together we have so many memories that it will probably take us 1001 nights to tell them all. But since we have tonight, we'll try our best. I know a lot of you have never been to St. Monica, just like me, so I'm going to ask these girls to tell you some of the memorable moments in St. Monica's. Can Joan, would you like to start?
Thank you. Well, when I first asked Pat, what do you remember about St. Monica's? She immediately said, tuck shop. And I said, yes, tuck shop. Do you know that you boys in St. Michael's have your recess, have your break before us? By the time you get to us, we don't have as much to eat or as much to choose from. So you know what happened? When the bells ring, whoosh, I ran out. I ran and ran and ran. I ran all the way to the tuck shop and go, 華哥, 炒麵啊, 炒麵啊. And she said, Abba, 炒米粉. So we all screamed at the 4 guys to get our food. So every day I ran, every day I eat. The more I eat, the fatter I became, and the faster I ran. I was so fast in the 100 meters that I got 4 soap boxes. And you don't know what soap boxes are for. Pat will tell you what the soap boxes are for.
You know, when at that time, we were not the prizes that we get. You know, are not trophies like today. It's only a small wrap-up gifts. And when we open, it's a soap box.
With no soap inside. So I got 4 soap boxes, that's how good I was. And in fact, one of the soap boxes became my dowry because when I got married, I still have this soap box. So, in actual fact, what I want to say, the queen of the tracks is Jie Yong-ying. Give her applause. And the best long jumper and high jump is Sek Yuk Fong. And the next one, much to my displeasure, I've been trying and trying and trying to beat her all these years, I never succeed in shot put and javelin is Liang Yongmo. So in our class, because our age range is very huge, because after the war, some of the girls didn't go to school, and some of them went to Chinese school before they joined us. So Pat and I were one of the younger ones, and we were interested in everything that's going on rather than school work. So I used to hate Monday very much, because on Monday we have dictation, Chinese dictation. I was very lazy. I didn't do my writing or learning or anything. And we have this teacher.
We have this Chinese lady, Miss Chen, that is Zheng Lao Se. She is always wearing a long white cheongsam, and she is very deeply short-sighted. And every time, when she walks past, some of the naughty girls will put out their leg. And then we have
and then we have two nuns.
yes.
One younger nuns and taller nuns called Sister Florence. I'm sure the girls will remember her. She used to play the piano, and we have singing lessons. And she was a lovely, happy-go-lucky lady. And then we have the other nun, Sister Allison, and she was very serious. She used to come into the classroom, look at us, and everybody was so quiet. Not a single noise. And she taught us poetry. We had some lovely poetry, such as Daffodils and High Water, but we also had some horrible ones, such as a Scottish one, with all the Scottish words in it. And I struggled to learn. Every Thursday, she comes into the classroom, she opens the door, comes in, looks around, and then twiddles her nose, and walked out again. And we thought, oh good, no lessons. And then she come back in about 10 minutes later, and she said, Chua Ming Liang. And Chua Ming Liang have to stand up and recite what we have learned the week before. And of course, Lang Lui Chua Ming Liang can always do it. And then with that Scottish poem, she comes in and was sort of trying to sit down lower and lower so that she won't be able to see me and ask me. Well, I'm sure Pat would like to read about the daffodils so that to refresh our memories.
Yes. The Daffodils by William Wordsworth. I wander lonely as a crowd that floats on high old vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the star that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretch in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them dance, but they outdid the sparkling waves in green. A poem cannot but be gay in such a jocund company. I grace and grace, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in a pensive mood, they flash upon the inward eye which is the breeze of solitude. And then my heart and pressure feels and dances with the daffodils.
Well, as I was saying, we were the younger ones. We get to hear about boys. We used to think, boys? What boys? You know, because the older girls would talk about boys, and they talk about film stars, such as Lin Dai, Lim Dai, Lim Fong, Lim Cui. And then we have this girl called Zhang Yulan, yeah? And she had beautiful long hair, and she tied her hair in a ponytail. She used to fancy herself as Zhang Zhongmen, and she used to do a pose like this. She said, "Oh, I look like Zhang Zhongmen." And then we have songs. We hear her singing. 忘不了，忘不了。Thank you, Dorothy. So I'm sure it was so much fun in those days. But in P6, primary 6, we moved on to a classroom of our own on the top of the boarding house. It was very, very quiet and cool in there. But you have to go up a stair, and it was quite eerie. We used to imagine all sorts of ghosts. And we had a teacher called Miss Goodrick.
We have a teacher called Miss Goodrick, who's from Tasmania. She was back here in 2009 for the union, but after she went back not long, she gone.
Well, she was there for our exam, and after the exam, we have somebody else as a supply teacher who took her place. And we did something very interesting, didn't we, Pat? We had French lessons. We never ever thought French lessons. So that was the first time we ever heard any French words. And she used to teach us things like greetings and my name is such and such and all sorts of things. So we have to learn that. But we could couldn't really remember the pronunciation. So we used to write things to remind us. So bonsoir, monsieur and madame. And then my name is Choi. Je m'appelle Feng Choi. So I used to struggle and write all sorts of things. Say, oh, je m'appelle Feng Choi. And then, how do you do? Comment allez-vous?
Comment allez-vous?
So we thought, oh, you can remember it. Comment allez-vous? And then,
what do you say? I like ice cream.
J'aime la. Me as well, you said?
As well, yes.
And Jimin as well? Moi aussi. And Jimin aussi. Anyway, we move on to secondary school. By then, we thought we better not play around so much and better be more serious. But in secondary school, we have boys, so we were behaving. As you all know, boys are slower than girls. So you have people like and 前康長 tiny